Hello, I'm Rebecca, also known as Coach Rebecca, and this is the first installment of our weekly Monday Q&A with Coach Rebecca. And I am super excited about this. As some of you guys might know, I'm a big fan of 90-day goals. And so I always encourage my clients to set them, and then also, of course, actionable items that they can do every single week to move forward and feel successful. So this is part of my personal 90-day goal. I am going to, every Monday for the next, I think it's 11 weeks technically, going to be here with you answering questions. And if you guys like it, I'll keep it going. So I have reached out to the members in my community, the Perform Happy community. If you don't know about it yet, then you can go over to performhappy.com and check it out. It is my new favorite thing. I'm building this community of people who are all working on building mental toughness. It's for families, it's for kids, and we have this ongoing, expanding library of mental toughness training. So, for example, this week in there, we are going to be doing our third of 6 fear trainings. So I work with a lot of gymnasts, ice skaters, trampoliners, different people who are a little bit nervous on certain skills. So we're working through this week, building confidence and figuring out for yourself what your confidence level is now and where it needs to be and how to get there. So that's happening in there this week. And then after we're done with fear, we're going to go to building confidence. When we're done with that, we're going to go to finding flow, which is also known as like the zone. And just basically, as long as you guys keep building mental toughness, I will keep coming up with trainings to keep you moving forward. So I am a sports psychology expert. I have a sports psychology master's degree, and my specialty is working with kids age 8 through 18 on things like mental toughness, overcoming fear, building motivation. So today, the first question I'm going to address is from one of my members in the Perform Happy community. And then after I go through that, I'll see if you guys have any questions live. So feel free to tap in a question, and then hopefully I can get a chance to answer it. And so we'll start with this question. How can my daughter find motivation on bars, she's a gymnast, when she feels she's been pushed aside by her coach for the rest of the season? She's lost all motivation on bars since he told her she will not compete at all this season. It's as if she's given up. She's motivated in all other events, just not bars. So, motivation. This is something that I work with a lot of swimmers on, because sometimes you get stuck on a plateau and it's really, really hard to keep going when you're not seeing tangible results. And for gymnasts too, and I'm going to answer it in a couple of ways. So the first is, how do you build motivation in general? And my thought is always to kind of go big picture, because when you're stuck in the moment of this doesn't feel fun, it's hard to remember that getting out of your comfort zone and doing something unfun is what's going to get you to competing in college, or to moving up to the next level, or to getting the next coach who coaches the next level. You know, if you think big picture, it can be a little bit easier to digest a one day at a time that feels unfun. So my question for her is, why are you doing it? Why do you show up? Why do you go to the gym? You know, why are the other events okay? Obviously it's, a coaching issue, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but why do it? And maybe it's the fun of flying through the air. And sometimes it's great to even write down, why do I do it? And just get a little list of why it's going. Hi, Chris. And what makes it feel good? Maybe not even that event. I know you said that she's cool in the other events, but if that event is not fun, there's got to be something she can pull from another event. So that's first, is why does she do it? What's the big picture? What's the picture she's got on her wall? Is it college gymnastics? Is it, whatever that big carrot is at the end? That's something to keep in focus when you're really not feeling very excited. And what's beyond this season? So if she can just get through it and hang in there and do the best she can, one practice at a time, what's next? What is she working toward? Where does she want to go? And then, so now here's something that actually I'm going to be talking about in my community this week in our fear training. Maybe not this week, but the next one. But I call it filling the tank. And if you consider that your body as an athlete is your vehicle, you've got your gas tank, and I like to think of the heart like the gas tank, that if your heart is full, you can make your body do amazing things. And if your heart is empty, it's really hard. It's like you're pushing it up a hill. And it sounds like that's what's going on for this particular situation. And some of the things that can drain our tank are negative comments, failure, repeated failure, or at least perceived failure. Often it's not actually a failure, but if you're focusing on something and going, well, I'm failing, I'm not doing the skill, so what's the point? So coach is being rude, teammates are rolling their eyes, you're not doing the skills, you're not having fun, you don't feel good, your heart is draining. And when your heart is draining and your tank is draining, then your ability to do scary stuff or stressful stuff or your ability to perform under pressure goes way down. And this is one of the reasons why sometimes people who get blocked up in practice and just can't make their body do what they want it to do, they excel in meets and competitions, because there's this like overall excitement and everyone's really positive and everybody's dressed up and ready to go and it's fun and it's a different environment. So sometimes you can get a little bit more heart power at a competition that you don't have in training. Okay, so we're getting another. Training coach would like you to discuss the mental side of practice matches versus important matches. Also playing to win versus playing not to lose. Don't focus enough at practice matches. Okay, that's a good one. So yeah, let's go ahead and just tackle that. So real quickly wrapping up on what we were talking about before, filling the tank. Think about what fills it. You know, what are you grateful for? What's going well? What, if your coach is not a source of inspiration, what is? And I once had a girl who was working with the most awful coach. I mean, just abusive and demeaning and unkind. And so she knew, when I go to this event with this coach, he is not going to fill me up. So I don't expect that from him. I show up and he gives me corrections and he helps my technique and he helps me to become a better gymnast. But when I'm feeling low, I look around instead of what I'm doing wrong, which I will hear from him, I look at the little girls that are so impressed by me, even on my worst day. And this girl was a phenomenal gymnast who was made to feel like she was not good, not doing well, not trying hard enough. But she'd look around and see these little big-eyed girls that were like, wow, you're amazing. We want to be just like you when we grow up. And she started shifting her focus and was like, okay, every bit of progress I make is not for this mean guy over here. It's for these little girls who are watching me. So, you know, figuring out what inspires you, what makes you feel good, that can be hugely helpful. On top of like daily goals, there's so many good things that you can do to fill up that tank. So I'm going to go into that in depth for the members. And if you're not already a member, check out performhappy.com. We got lots of good stuff happening over there. Okay, so the mental side of practice matches versus important matches. Playing to win versus playing not to lose. That's a couple of big things. So I'll start with the first one. What I like to train people to do is to be consistent. And the way that you dissolve the pressure of a big match or a big meet or a big competition is by doing the exact same thing for every single practice, every important practice, every little match, every big match. Every single time that you go to do your sport, you prepare in exactly the same way. You know, if you've got a song that pumps you up, you listen to that on the way. If you've got a certain mantra that you say in your head, you say that. When you start into every single repetition, you have the same cue words, the same thoughts, the same feelings. If you really are disciplined and train yourself, then there is no difference. I mean, yeah, it's easier said than done. But essentially, if you figure out where and when do you operate the best, you know, and if you know you operate the best under pressure, figure out what is it about that pressure. Is it that, you know, people are going to be watching? Is that, you know, whatever it is for you that kind of creates that urgency or that like drive for excellence, sort out what that is. Is that a certain thought? Is it a feeling? Is it, because anything that you can create in one scenario, you can create in another just through, you know, figuring out what was it that set me up for that? Was it the focus that I had? Was it that this matters, you know, and how can you carry that spirit of this matters to every single repetition, and being super disciplined about that. it can make a huge difference. And then it makes it so that, you show up at the Olympics, you think the same thoughts, you listen to the same thing, you stretch the same way, you take the same breaths, and you've got the same performance. And I've seen this over and over, that if you're, letting things be different based on the weight of the competition, if it's an important competition or if it's a less important competition, you're not gonna know what version of yourself is gonna show up that day. But if you're disciplined and you do it, day in, day out, the same stuff, it's like you flip a switch and your mind just goes, oh, time to be excellent, and off you go. So, and then playing to win versus playing not to lose. Now, this is a huge thing for perfectionists, and I see this a lot with gymnasts where they really don't want to fall, and they're like, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. So for a second here, I want you guys to not imagine a giant purple bunny that's holding a red carrot that's hopping up and down. Okay, don't picture this purple bunny hopping up and down. Okay, now give me a little thumbs up if you just pictured a purple bunny hopping up and down. Come on, somebody. I know you guys probably did. So if you tell your brain, don't ... what do you think your brain's gonna do? It's gonna go, oh, ... It's gonna think about the bunny. It's gonna think about what you're not supposed to think about. If you think about don't fall off the beam, then you're going to imagine yourself falling off the beam. If you think about don't fail, you're going to think about failing, which makes your muscles tense up. And then you don't know, and then you're unpredictable. And that's a lot of what I do, is creating consistency and predictability by doing the same thing, being consistent, figure out what works. So if you're out there to not fall, often you're going to tighten up, you're going to restrict yourself, you're not going to go big, and you're not going to do what you're used to doing in training. So that, basically the root of the issue in the playing to win versus playing not to lose is you're in the future. You're in the outcome instead of in the moment, which is where the magic happens. So if you're going, oh gosh, I hope I don't mess this up, I better pull back and be conservative. First of all, you're changing what you would have done naturally. And second of all, you're in the future, which means you're probably missing important cues. And when you're under pressure, your focus narrows in, and you think only about what's most pertinent or most threatening. So if you're thinking about losing or winning or any of that stuff, you're not doing yourself a favor. So the best you can do is just be present. Remind, as part of your system that you have in place to get in the zone, you have a reminder, maybe even choreographed in, to check in with your body, to be in your body, to feel your feet, to feel your breath. And just keep coming back to it, and do this at practice, especially anything new mental training wise. You always want to do it at practice for at least a couple weeks before you do it in competition. So you just bring it back to now. It doesn't really matter what the outcome is, because if you're in the outcome while you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, your outcome is not going to be as good. So it's ironic and not really how it seems. Like you think, oh, there's pressure, I got to do great, I got to really focus on this. But all it does is distract. So now let's see here. We have just a couple minutes. So if anybody has something quick to ask, I've got a couple of really great questions here, but I think I'm going to have to leave them for next week because I really want to be able to go in depth. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and type them in real quick. Otherwise, I will be back on Monday. If you guys have questions, please email me. I'm coachrebeccasmith@gmail.com. Or you can just go check out my website, completeperformancecoaching.com. And I have, monthly Q&As for parents in my community. I also have a private Facebook group that's ongoing Q&As. So if you guys want more, there's lots of good ways to get me, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.